What's up guys, back at you with another home lab. When I normally do this lab, I use tiny marshmallows and good toothpicks. Today I have rubbish toothpicks and cut up pieces of prunes because I'm 1,000,000 years old. The premise of this lab is very simple. I want you to see the connection between carbon footprint and material possessions. Remember, I'm going to say that again, is to see the connection or one of the connections between carbon footprint and material possession. And there are 1,000,000 different ways that lead to a greater carbon footprint and 1,000,000 different material possessions that have their own carbon footprint, right? But in this one, what we're going to start with, and this is the first part that you need to do, is Google CO2 emissions per capita. CO2 emissions per capita. When you hit enter, then it's usually going to give you a list of CO2 emissions per person on average of a bunch of different countries. That's information you're going to need because you're going to be assigned a country, and then you need to find the CO2 emissions per capita for that country. Now, when you find the CO2 emissions, it's going to give you that answer in tons. So in this lab, one connector piece, which is either going to be a marshmallow or in my case, a piece of dried fruit, you're going to get one piece of dried fruit for every half ton of CO2 emissions per capita. So if there's 5 tons, that means you're gonna get 10 pieces of fruit or 10 marshmallows. Once you have your number of marshmallows or pieces of dried fruit, you're gonna get an equal number of toothpicks. So if I've got 10 marshmallows, get 10 toothpicks out. With your marshmallows and toothpicks or dried fruit, then you're going to construct a house out of the materials you have. Those materials, the amount of materials you have, is based entirely on the CO2 emissions per capita for that country. Then what you're going to do is build a house out of those materials, take a picture of it, and post it on the discussion board. Also, research and post 3 nations that have a nearly identical CO2 emissions per capita as the country you were assigned. There's a few big overarching questions that we need to answer in this lab, or that you need to answer for yourself. Is the way to reduce the carbon footprint of the world to reduce material possession? If it is, what material possessions are you willing to discard or not purchase in the first place? Should we reduce material possession or make material possessions out of things that don't have a carbon footprint, or we have a carbon neutral material possession? The last thing that you're going to post on the discussion board for this lab is 5 carbon neutral products. I do want you to see that capitalism isn't always evil. There are products out there that you can buy that is made specifically for a consumer market that is interested in being carbon neutral. If you're interested in being carbon neutral, those products are out there for you, and you can put your money where your beliefs are. I want all my students to be out there forming their own complex thoughts and their own belief system. I want you to be thinking and deciding who you want to be and how you want to live for yourself all the time. I don't want you to just regurgitate back to me what I think. I want you to do that work for yourself. I've got my own prunes because I'm ancient, and my own rubbish toothpicks because I'm cheap. I got these at Tom Thumb. It's 750 of them for 49 cents, and I got what I paid for. They are awful. So let's see what happens. All right, here you have masterpiece. Actually, it's rubbish. You should probably use marshmallows for this. The prunes, no good. Just to recap, the purpose of this is for you to see what CO2 emissions per person looks like across the whole world. And I want you to see it's different everywhere across the world. But I do want you to see everyone's got a carbon footprint. I also want you to see that we have different definitions of what material wealth is and what material possession looks like globally. Also, I want you to start formulating your own beliefs and having your own thoughts. That's the deeper critical thinking piece here that I really want you to take seriously.